What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today's video is going to be a bit different. It's based on a video that I made a few weeks ago. Back in that video, we talked about what the best team for Universe 7 would be, although we did have some handicaps. And today's scenario will actually be exploring what happens with that team. Also Josh, thank you for editing this again. Anyways, for this video, let's set a like goal of 3,500 likes. If there's enough interest, maybe I can continue on beyond the Tournament of Power. Anyways, let's begin. So again, I'm heavily recommending you watch that video for a lot more explanation. I'm going to be making this video under the assumption that you've already watched that. So before you're asking any questions in the comments on why I'm leaving stuff out, check out that video first. And the changes here are pretty simplistic. One of the first changes is a pretty basic one. Beforehand, let's say Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo are all training more than normal. These four were all training anyways, it's just now in this scenario, it's going to be a little bit better. This is pretty important based on what I said in that last video, especially for Goku and Vegeta who are trying to get a new power. As for Beerus and Whis, they're also going to be much more involved in the recruitment process. Once the Tournament of Power is actually announced, Goku's of course going to have to recruit some people on Earth, but as for Beerus and Whis, they're also going to be looking around out in space to see if they can find any strong people. It will take a bit of time though, so they can't expect too many people to be recruited out in space. So in the meantime, Goku's going to go to Earth trying to recruit as many people as possible in as little time as possible. So the people he recruits are pretty obvious. Gohan and Vegeta are the first picks, alongside Piccolo and Buu. Buu in this scenario is actually going to stay awake. It's a minor change, but it has big effects. And as for the androids, it's going to be a little bit harder to recruit them because it takes some convincing. But it shouldn't be that bad getting them to join the team. They joined originally after all. Especially because Goku's probably going to try and figure out a way to do this without lying here. So with these fighters, we already have 7 people on the team. And it's good timing too, because after these people are recruited, Beerus and Whis meet back up with Goku and Vegeta again. Sadly, a lot of the strong people in Universe 7 are actually villains, but they were able to find 2 people that could join the team. And the reason they only have 2 people is because it took kinda long to convince them. In the shortest terms, well, they hate Saiyans. Or at least the ones who are remaining. The first one is another Saiyan, named Broly. Now, he doesn't necessarily hate Vegeta or anything, it's more so that Paragus made him hate Vegeta. In terms of Goku and everyone else on Earth, they have no quarrel. The good thing is it wasn't too hard to convince them, they were facing universal destruction after all. And Beerus kinda did put Paragus in his place. Although there's another issue with Broly too, and it's that he doesn't really have that much training. Sure, he could fight and he is pretty strong, but they need to unlock more of his power. Alright, what about the second person? Well, he's also a criminal, but he's not necessarily a villain. It's not like he's a pure evil guy that they can't trust that goes around killing people randomly. But he kinda does have a grudge against Saiyans for killing all his people. It's Granola. The thing is, he's incredibly powerful, and this one was a bit weirder when they were trying to convince him. And surprisingly, Monaido even helped convince him too, telling him that long ago, he was actually saved by a Saiyan. Not that they know he's related to Goku, but this does make Granola feel a little bit better about being on the team with them. And not to mention, it's not like these Saiyans were personally there trying to destroy him. Goku's been good basically all his life and he's been on Earth all the time. Broly was gone the entire time too. Vegeta's a bit more connected, but it wasn't his fault after all. And he was pretty young at the time even though he was a soldier. It takes a bit of convincing, but Beerus and Whis are able to recruit him too. So that only leaves them with 9 people. They need one more person. And since they're trying to get the most powerful team possible, Goku has considered recruiting the humans, but they need someone stronger. He's not sure if people like Krillin, Tenshinhan, or Roshi can keep up. But he and Gohan actually thought of a pretty good idea. They want to recruit Cell. Now, Beerus doesn't know who Cell is. It's not like Frieza where he previously knew him. Sure, Cell's probably been mentioned in passing. But everyone else is surprised to hear this. Cell? They want him on the team? Well yeah, of all the past villains, he probably has the most potential. There is Frieza too since he is pretty strong, but Cell has all of Frieza's potential and it's probably more trustworthy. Plus, not that this really matters, but with Granola there, it's not really going to work having Frieza on the team. And now the group's going to be a bit split up. Goku is going to be taken to Beerus and Whis' planet to try and train there. Before the tournament, they want to see if Goku can hone his power even more, possibly unlocking Ultra Instinct, although he might need to use the Room of Spirit in time. But he can't use that right now because Vegeta's going to be split up too. The plan is to have him go in there to train with his power. But not right now because 2 more things need to happen first. For one, Gohan's going to be the one to go to Hell and actually recruit Cell. He might have the best shot at doing it. And as for Piccolo, Beerus pulls him aside and says he wants all the Namekians to fuse with him. While they're out searching for warriors, they of course stumbled upon Namek too. And they thought maybe it'd be a better idea if everyone just fused into one person. Of course, Piccolo's very hesitant, as are all the Namekians, but still, they have the Dragon Balls at least. They could just use them to defuse afterwards, so that at least puts their mind at ease. Since Vegeta's gotta wait for some people, he heads into the Room of Spirit in time right now, with Goku spending some time in there too, as Gohan goes to Hell to recruit Cell. Of course, Cell's pretty elated to see Gohan there. It's another opportunity to possibly kill him. Cell tries to attack him and it doesn't work at all. Gohan's way too strong for him now. But he tells Cell that he has an opportunity for him. Cell's informing about the tournament, and pretty much like Frieza, he's convinced, especially because this is a guy that loves fighting. A tournament would be right up his alley, especially with Gohan there. Maybe this will mean he has another chance to fight Gohan afterwards, as long as he's revived. That's the deal. Gohan tells him Cell's gonna get a year's worth of training, but that doesn't make sense. Baba's only allowing Cell to be back just over a day. But then Gohan explains the room of spirit and time. They're still gonna get a year of training in there, and Baba was gracious enough to give them an extra 12 hours. So Cell's gonna get a full day's worth of training in there, which equates to a year. And he'll obviously still have time afterwards to actually be in the tournament. Goku exits the room of spirit and time, while Vegeta stays in there to work on his power. Now it's time for more training. As discussed in the last video, Vegeta's gonna be in there with the androids, Piccolo, and Cell. With Broly going in too to train with Vegeta, all these people don't need food besides Vegeta and Broly, so even though there's only enough food for 2 people for a year, it doesn't matter. The androids, Cell, and Piccolo are just fine, and this will help Cell grow a lot stronger. He does have some great potential after all, being part Frieza and Saiyan. And the same goes for Broly. This will allow the androids to grow stronger too, and Piccolo will be able to get a better grasp on his power now that he's fused with all the Namekian. It's a win-win-win, and on the outside, Buu, Goku, and Gohan train together, with Granola joining too just so they get a better feel for his fighting style. As you can clearly tell by now, this whole recruitment process is way more organized than it was originally, and a lot less hectic. Everyone's more efficient with time, and they're growing stronger and stronger. Not only is the team better, but the planning and the training's better too. And honestly, that's more important than the roster, and you'll see why as this video goes on. While in the room of spirit and time, Vegeta works towards Ultra Ego, while also trying to get Broly to get a grasp on Super Saiyan, trying to control his anger too. It's interesting to see another Saiyan like this, especially with how strong he is. As for Cell, not only is he trying to catch up, but he's trying to get a new power for himself too. Getting God Ki would be kinda hard, so maybe no God forms for him. And he could try and incorporate Frieza's power within his own, but he's already perfect as is. There's no need to make himself golden. If anything, he'll just utilize the golden power without actually making himself golden. But mainly he's focused on another technique, Kaioken. His biology is perfect for this, no pun intended. Although he doesn't have infinite energy like the other androids, he can regenerate, which is great for this. And speaking of the other androids, he's surprised to see them again too. This is another conflict on the team also. Even though we have strong members, there's obviously conflict with Granola and the Saiyans, Broly and Vegeta, and the androids and Cell. This is probably the most challenging thing to work out before the tournament. But with training in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, they have more than enough time to actually solve their problems. And as for Granola, he learns a bit more about Goku and Gohan, seeing that Minato was right and that all Saiyans aren't actually brutes. Especially after all these years, it kinda makes sense. After a day, everyone exits the room of spirit and time. Piccolo is much stronger and now has a control on his power. Vegeta can go into Ultra Ego now, being able to use it at will when he's in the right mindset. All 3 of the androids have grown stronger too, and 17 and 18 have worked out their problems with Cell. They don't fully trust him yet, but it's not like he's gonna absorb them again. He's already perfect. And after all, everyone was in there for a year, so it's more than enough time to mend any of those problems. And it even softens Cell up a bit, although not too much. And now with everything in place, the tournament itself actually begins. Gohan made some pretty great plans for the team too. He knows pretty much everyone's strengths after training with them. Really, the only people he didn't know about were Broly and Granola, but with Granola he actually did train with him and Vegeta gave him some tips on Broly. So his plan is to have people work in groups of 2, or at least most of them. Gohan and Piccolo are going to work together, with 17 and 18 being a duo as well. Broly and Granola might work well together as well. Broly will be pure muscle and can go in close and attack people, while Granola works from afar sniping them. Buu, Cell, Vegeta, and Goku are wild cards. They're able to do whatever they please. Gohan feels like they'll work best alone, but as for Buu, there is one thing that he wants them to do. Before the tournament, Buu rips off pieces of himself, placing them on each of the fighters on his team. Gohan, Buu, and Satan already worked this out beforehand. The plan is if anyone falls out of the ring, Buu will be able to tether them back in. Plus, this will make it harder to knock Buu out, because if he is knocked out, well, he could just transfer to one of those people that he's stuck to. And they can even use these pieces of Buu as weapons, wrapping people up with it. Buu is pretty strong after his training, and even though he might not be the strongest on the team right now, he's the most valuable support by far. It's going to be nearly impossible to throw him out of the ring. And there's also the fact that he's never going to get tired, he can regenerate, and he can use magic to heal people. This is such a deadly combo that it basically makes the team overpowered as is. But what's even better is the rest of the team. With Goku's training so far, he was able to tap into Ultra Instinct Omi. Not quite Ultra Instinct yet, but still, he has Omi. It's a bit tough for him to use right now and draining, but Buu is going to be there to heal him after all. So maybe they can make it work. As the tournament begins, Cell also has his own idea. He creates a bunch of Cell Juniors. It worked nicely for him before in the Cell games, and it basically means Universe 7 has a bunch more members on their team. The other gods would probably be mad at him for cheating, but this isn't cheating at all, and Zeno's probably going to hype it up if anything. The great thing is that a lot of the people on the team are so strong that they don't need to use all their energy right away. Obviously this doesn't apply to the 2 androids and Buu, but for everyone else that actually has limited power, this is a very effective strategy. It turns out Broly and Granola make a great team too. The 2 of them destroy a section of the ring to make a giant perch for Granola to sit on. Broly waits below, attacking anyone that comes near him. He acts as bait to draw people in, and not only is he an effective fighter on his own, but he has Granolah there as Overwatch. Granolah is also able to see people across the ring too, trying to pick off as many as possible. And I feel like everyone on Universe 7's team would quickly realize Granolah is going to be a very valuable asset too. Whenever they're involved in the fight, Granolah is going to have an opening to snipe people. He's a very great long-range fighter after all, and since he's able to see people's vital points, it's not going to be hard for him to one-shot people. The thing is, he isn't the strongest on the team, so there are people that are too strong to one-shot, but still, he's able to hit their vital points and able to do some good damage. Obviously, people are going to be trying to attack him, but Broly's there as a bodyguard. He's the short-range fighter, and Granolah's the long-range one. With how effective Universe 7 is fighting, this would probably cause a lot of the other teams to focus on their last resorts. For example, Universe 6 would have Kefla come out right away. Universe 3 would probably have all their robots fuse into Aniraza earlier on too. And Toppo and Dispo might even transform too, with Toppo going into his God of Destruction mode and Dispo going into his Light Speed mode. Universe 7 would quickly become the main target for everyone, if they weren't already before. People already did hate Goku. But now with how strong the team is, everyone realized they need to take out Universe 7. The androids are very quick fighters that can go in close. They have perfect synergy together too when they're fighting. And as we've seen, 17 is a great strategist, and his use of shields would be very helpful too. And after all that time training together, 18 probably would have picked up on this technique as well. If 17 could do it, there's no reason that she couldn't learn it as well. The Cell Juniors are also doing a great job as well. Some of them are defeated pretty easily, but others are able to trip up a lot of the fighters in other universes too. They act as great bodyguards for Cell too. If anyone tries to sneak up on him, he has a Cell Junior alerting him. And Cell gets some great use out of Kaioken. Gohan's actually pretty impressed to see how strong Cell's gotten now. Maybe it would be fun to fight him afterwards and have a rematch. But that's not the focus right now. What matters is that Cell is incredibly strong. Consider how strong Frieza got with 4 months of training. He went from being a Namek level fighter to being a Super Saiyan Blue level fighter. All just from his golden form in that short training. Cell has a year of training, and he has a better advantage due to his DNA being better. He has Namekian DNA, Saiyan DNA, and Frieza DNA. So he probably has way higher potential, and he can regenerate too, which is a big plus. He has learned Kaioken. I mean, it's part of him after all, but it was kind of hard to get a grasp on. But even though he's only using it at lower levels, it's still insane how powerful it makes him. With Toppo in his God of Destruction mode, this makes him a perfect match for Vegeta, with Vegeta showing off Ultra Ego. They're both students of Destroyers after all, and it makes for a pretty impressive fight, but with how strong Vegeta is at this point, it's pretty obvious that he's going to come out on top. Again, no pun intended, that would be pretty corny. Goku eventually does face Jiren since he is the strongest person there after all. Thankfully, Broly and Granolah are handling Kefla. And as for Aniraza, Gohan and Piccolo are facing him alongside Cell and the androids. This leaves Goku open to finally have the ultimate battle that he wanted. He shows off Ultra Instinct Omen, and Buu even heals him up too just so he's at full power. The two begin clashing, and even with how strong Goku is, it seems to be only enough to match Jiren here, and he's still suppressed. But the best part here is, Ultra Instinct isn't going to be limited here. Even though it's draining for him, Goku has someone to heal him this time around. Essentially, he could use Ultra Instinct as much as he needs. Obviously this puts a target on Buu's back, but most of the strong fighters are already eliminated. And even for the ones that try to attack Buu like Hit, Buu is a pretty good fighter in his own right. And even if someone did have the power to overcome his strength, and it's almost impossible too, you gotta consider how valuable everyone considers him on the team. They're definitely gonna be making sure that he's protected. Goku's fight with Jiren seems to be the hardest of all. But it's pretty much impossible for anyone to eliminate anyone in Universe 7, so even at this point, all their fighters would likely still be in the ring. As Goku and Jiren battle, Jiren suddenly feels a sharp pain in his back. It doesn't do much damage, but he's surprised that someone is able to injure him. He turns around and sees Granolah far away, sniping him. Even though there's a gap in power between the two of them, Granolah is able to locate his vital points. And this serves as a great distraction for Goku to attack him more and more. And with pretty much everyone else eliminated by this point, this leaves everyone in Universe 7 open to attack Jiren. Jiren would of course be pressured into using his full power, but even with that, he's fighting Ultra Instinct Gomen Goku, Ultra Ego Vegeta, Super Saiyan Broly, and you know what, I don't need to list everyone else. You know who's on the team and you know how strong they are. Point being, everyone's so ridiculously overpowered that even Jiren can't help it. He's eventually knocked out of the ring, and Universe 7 wins, with no eliminations at all. This was the perfect dream team, and it shows how greatly prepared Universe 7 was. More importantly, they have to decide on a wish now. And I feel like a complication here would be deciding an MVP. Everyone on the team was greatly valuable, but I feel like the biggest contenders for MVP would be pretty surprising. It would either be Gohan, Buu, or Granolah. Gohan was the team leader after all, and formulated all these strategies. Buu was the greatest support on the team, in terms of his technical abilities, while Granolah was the greatest support on the team in terms of his physical abilities. And just to keep things safe, let's say the wish goes to Gohan, and he definitely would make the right wish. And that pretty much covers everything. What did you guys think about this video? And if I do make a part 2 to follow this up, what do you think would happen next? Leave any thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out to see what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and if we hit that like goal at the beginning of the video, I might continue this story with another part. If you haven't already, why not subscribe, as well as hitting the bell icon to be notified about any future uploads on my channel, including a continuation of this video. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.